everyone, it's Danielle here for Clair Designs. I'm excited to be back to share a new stamp set from Clair Designs Holiday Release 2020. In this new holiday release, there's just not one, not two, not three, but 12 stamp sets. You heard me right. There are 12 stamp sets in this new holiday release. The stamp set I'm using with today's project is named Barrels. It's a set of 25 and it's pretty versatile and perfect for creating stylish scenes for your cards or paper crafts. In this set, the focal image is the barrel, which you can combine with pumpkins or apples or flowers, and it has cute sentiments that has a play on words like barrels of thanks, barrels of love, barrels of happiness. The stamp set is pretty cute and there's a lot to work with. You can find it and all of the other stamp sets and more at joyclair.com. So if you've seen any of my videos, you notice that when I work with digital images, I start with the design and the placement of the images, where I want to put them, the scene I would like to build, and all that good stuff. And when I'm happy with placement, I print out the images onto a piece of cardstock. I normally fill the entire cardstock by printing the card design 4 times. Um, and the reason I print them 4 times is because sometimes I use one of the images to practice coloring and finding the right color combination. And other times I use, multiple pieces for layering. And other times I make card sets. So um, that's something you can consider when you're using digital stamps. But I find printing it 4 times give me a lot, a lot of liberty. I have more room to play. Okay, so I trim down the card panel and then I begin to apply my color. I'm using Copic markers. I'm using E50, E51, E53, and later E77 and E79. And I use those markers to color the barrel. And as you can see in the video, my approach to coloring the barrels, I used my lightest color first. I came in with the darkest color for the shadows. I blended with the middle, the mid-tone, and then I did a second layer. So I went light, dark, mid, a second layer. And I use my blender marker. I don't think I capture that all the time, but if I go outside the lines, I use my colorless blender to clean that up. I push that ink right back inside the lines. Next, I start to color the pumpkins, and I saw a picture of different color pumpkins, and I was trying to um, duplicate that look, or is that the right word? I was trying to use that same color theme. So I have the traditional color pumpkins, then I have red pumpkins and blue pumpkins. And so I'm using B91 for the blue pumpkin. For the red one, I'm using R43. And for the traditional color, I use YR65 and then Y35 because I did 2 shades of orange for the traditional color um, pumpkins. And if you notice, you see my little pumpkin sign. I thought that sign was so cute. I added the pumpkins sentiment, which is part of the stamp set, onto the sign there. So it says pumpkins. And I'm coloring that using my, I think that's W0. Yeah, W0. So it's a gray, kind of a gray tin color. Yeah, gray color. Okay, so next, because the barrel is going to be the focal point, I'm going to apply it to another card layer. I decided to fussy cut this out. So I'm leaving a border. I didn't go right to the line, so I'm leaving a border, and that border may be a little less than 1/8 of an inch, but I like the way the border looks. So after I fussy cut it out, I'm going to put my double-sided foam tape on the back of the image. So when I'm ready to apply it to the second layer, it'll adhere nicely. One thing I forgot to mention, or maybe I mentioned it earlier, I can't remember. Today's project is going to be a joint a joint collaboration with Rinea. Rinea? Rinea. Oh my gosh. I looked up the video and I looked for different ways to utilize the paper. But it's Rinea's foil paper and it's part of my card design. I'm using a layer on that. The technique I'm using is crumpling the paper. So I crumpled the paper. Oh, by the way, I'll have the link and the name of the paper pack that I use in the YouTube description below. So look for that. But our collaboration is with Rinea. I'm using that beautiful like burnt orange color foil, and I crumbled the paper up just to give it some texture. Now I use their, I paired that with their Ghost ink, and boy oh boy, I learned a lot in my application of this ink. So I just wanted to give you a few tips when you're using this type of ink. First, you want to pat that ink onto the paper. Don't rub, because it transfers that ink off of that. It transfers the ink onto the pad, and you don't want to do that. So you pat, 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 don't rub. The second thing I made note of is once the ink is on the paper, you can wipe it off. Yes, I've seen videos where they used alcohol on a paper towel and then use that to wipe it off. Obviously, I missed that step. So when I'm wiping it off, it's kind of just transferring everywhere. Um, so next time I'm going to use alcohol on a paper towel to wipe off that ink. And then the third thing is let the paper dry completely before you handle it. I had to be very, very careful and wipe my hands off. And I think you see me looking at my fingertips a little bit in the video, because that just the ink kind of transferred that the color was everywhere. So just make sure you either let it air dry before you manage it or dry it with a heating tool. I've seen that online as well. So other ladies that have used this paper, you can dry it with a heating tool. So it's part of my design. Again, I crumbled the paper to give it some texture. I applied that Ghost ink, and then I wiped it off. And I really like the way it looks. And I think it kind of complements the barrel. It's something different, and it worked for me. I used a sentiment from the stamp set called Barrels of Thanks. Actually, it's separate sentiments. Barrels is one sentiment, and then it has of thanks, of love, of happiness. So you can combine those sentiments together to make a cute little, to express a cute thought there. So mine says barrels of thanks. Of course, any of my projects, if you've seen my videos before, I always use Shimmer and Shine, which is Glossy Accents and Wink of Stella. So you saw me apply that there. And it's a pretty simple card to put together. Just remember those tips that I gave you earlier when utilizing that Ghost ink on this paper. Please pat, 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 don't rub, and let it dry. Oh, and when you're wiping it off, use a little bit of alcohol to wipe off the ink, and then dry it either with a heating tool or air dry overnight. All right, I finished it up with a couple of enamel dots. I put it together, and that's my card. I think it's pretty cute. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. That lets me know I'm doing okay. And thanks again. Be sure to visit joyclair.com for her holiday release and much more. Thanks for watching. Bye.